When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the Dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
This content may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion advised.
I'd locked up and was shaving my legs in the shower when Bailey started barking like crazy.
I was downstairs getting ready to head to bed when I caught a glimpse of something through our glass sliding door.
One night, I woke up with the unshakable feeling that I was being watched. It was a tall, black figure, darker than the dark around it.
From Killer Podcasts, true tales of the occult, otherworldly encounters, unexplainable events. This is Disturbed True Paranormal. We'll begin with a house in rural Arizona, where something lurks in the shadows. Narrated by Cassie Sikes, from Reddit user Oi Chica.
I've been house sitting for my dad the last 9 days. He's got a few acres here in semi-rural Arizona that are home to horses, chickens, and 2 dogs. The first few nights, one of the dogs barked like crazy. His name is Bailey, and he's basically a guard dog. He kept bolting out of the doggy door, barking into the darkness like his life depended on it. My dad said he reacts to desert critters sometimes, so I closed the door to keep him from going outside and left the TV on to distract him. This was working well until 2 days ago. As I was getting ready for bed, both dogs were suddenly startled. Like they heard something I couldn't. They bolted downstairs, out of sight. A second later, I heard a whistle. Like someone trying to get my attention, coming from outside on the back patio. The dogs burst out of the doggy door, barking at the noise. I grabbed a flashlight and looked through the window, but I didn't see anything. I called them back into the house and locked the doggy door. I thought it was probably just someone walking down the road, but something happened again last night. I'd locked up and was shaving my legs in the shower when Bailey started barking like crazy. I yelled at him to calm down, but then I heard something. It was a man's voice coming from inside the house. He was yelling, but I couldn't make out what he was saying over the noise of the shower. I wrapped myself in a towel, grabbed the flashlight, and slowly made my way downstairs. Bailey was still going nuts in the first-floor bedroom. I crept through the house, checking every room and leaving the bedroom for last. When I reached the door to the bedroom, Bailey stopped barking. I ripped open the door, ready to confront the intruder, but there was no one there. All I found was Bailey staring at the wall. I was terrified and seconds away from calling 911, but I realized I'd sound crazy. There was no evidence anyone was in my house. I locked myself and the dogs in the bedroom and stayed there till morning. I definitely heard someone in the house earlier, so it was the only thing I could do. Thankfully, I didn't hear anything the rest of the night. I couldn't bring myself to stay at that house any longer, so I drove to my mom's house this morning. I texted my brother about everything, and he said he heard the same whistle when he house sat for them a few months ago. I thought there was something off about that place. Overall, I'm pretty level-headed, and I don't scare easily. I know how to protect myself and listen to my gut. But this felt so different, and I just can't shake it.
I want to talk to you about your home security for a minute. I used to think home security was just an alarm that goes off after a break-in, scaring the intruder off and getting a neighbor's attention if you're lucky. But that's a reactive approach. By the time the intruder is in your home, it's too late. Your feeling of safety is shattered. Real security should stop a crime before it even starts. That's why I trust Simply Safe. Their system is designed to be proactive, not reactive. They use smart AI-powered cameras to identify threats lurking outside your home and immediately alert Simply Safe's professional monitoring agents. These agents intervene in real time before the break-in even begins. They access two-way audio to confront the person, trigger sirens and spotlights to scare them off, and request rapid police dispatch when needed, all helping to stop the intruder while they're still outside. That is real security. Join the more than 4 million Americans who trust Simply Safe with their home security every day, including me. And with a 60-day money-back guarantee and no long-term contracts, Simply Safe earns your business by keeping you safe and satisfied every day. Visit simplysafe.com/disturbed to claim 50% off a new system. That's simplysafe.com/disturbed. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Cooler temps are rolling in, and as always, Quince is where I'm turning for fall staples that actually last. From cashmere to denim to boots, the quality holds up and the price still blows me away. Quince has the kind of fall staples you'll wear non-stop, like super soft 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters starting at just $60, their durable denim that fits right, and their real leather jackets bring that clean, classic edge without the elevated price tag. What makes Quince different is that they partner directly with ethical factories and skip the middlemen, so you get top-tier fabrics and craftsmanship at half the price of similar brands. This summer, I've been rocking their mesh performance tees, which have been great at keeping me cool with their breathable fabric. My wife also needed to replace her worn-out suitcase recently, and she loves her new TSA-approved carry-on from Quince. Keep it classic and cool this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince. Go to quince.com/disturbed for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/disturbed. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/disturbed. Did the earrings of her late aunt, who tragically passed,
Now, strange happenings in her house threaten to drive her mad. Narrated by Jenn Bedell from Reddit user Petite Waifu.
A few months back, my grandma gave me a gift. She sent me the earrings my aunt was wearing when she killed herself. It was very public and tragic and traumatic, but my grandma gave me the earrings because she wanted me to have something to remember her by. Since I got them, some really strange things have been happening. It started with the doors. Before I go to the gym, I always close all the upstairs doors, including one that's super heavy, has a bolt lock, and can't be opened without a bit of force. I came home one day, and every single door was open, including the heavy one. My roommate was out of state at the time, and there was no sign of a break-in. They had opened themselves. I started paying extra attention to the doors, triple checking they were closed. Part of this was making sure that my roommate's dog didn't get trapped inside one of these rooms. One day I locked up and made sure the dog was in the living room before I left. When I got back, the dog was locked in the bathroom. There was no way he'd be able to get in there on his own, and my roommate wasn't home this time either. It made no sense. A few days later, almost the same thing happened, but this time, I saw it myself. I was in my room with the door shut, and the dog was asleep on a chair directly in front of my bed. When I opened my bedroom door to leave, the dog was standing outside of the room. I had literally just looked at him resting inside my room with the door shut. And in the blink of an eye, he was in the hallway. These occurrences were pretty small up until this point, but I started feeling sick in my own home. I told my roommate every time something happened, and he didn't believe me. I felt insane. A few days ago, though, he finally saw it himself. We were both out, and he had locked all the doors before we left. When we got back, all the upstairs doors were opened, and my room was trashed. All my stuffed animals had been knocked from my nightstand. My Nintendo Switch had made its way from a closed drawer onto the floor, and my photo album had photos ripped out of it. Upon further inspection, we also realized that a full, unopened water bottle I had in my room was now completely empty, and there were muddy hoof prints in the kitchen. There was no way we could explain any of this. We checked our neighbor's security cameras to make sure no one broke in, and they proved that no one entered while we were gone. We even scoured the basement looking for signs of a squatter, but we didn't find anything. The only thing I could think of was the earrings. Everything started when I got those damn earrings. I wanted to get rid of them, but my grandma begged me to keep them. My aunt got rid of most of her things before she died, so it was basically the only piece of her left. I also didn't want to give the earrings back to my grandma and risk putting her in danger, so I reluctantly kept them. Last night made me change my mind. It was 11 p.m. I was downstairs getting ready to head to bed when I caught a glimpse of something through our glass sliding door. I turned and saw a tall, thin figure with glowing green eyes in the backyard. It was staring right at me, and as soon as we locked eyes, it vanished. I bolted upstairs and started screaming hysterically for my roommate to call the police. I was fully sober and alert, but this was the last straw. All the strange stuff I'd been dealing with finally took its toll. I cried for an hour as my roommate tried to calm me down. Now, I've decided to get rid of the earrings. I love my aunt and I want to respect my grandma's wishes, but I can't do this anymore.
Finally, he thought his stepmother's illness would kill her. Little did he know, something much darker was waiting. Narrated by Bodhi Crowe, from Reddit user Chrono2055.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Switch to Shiseido Benefiance Wrinkle Smoothing Eye Cream and discover why people are calling it the best eye cream. A powerhouse formula that targets 5 types of eye area wrinkles. 96% of users saw reduced wrinkles and diminished dark circles after just 7 days. Shop Shiseido Benefiance Wrinkle Smoothing Eye Cream at Sephora and discover how change can happen in the blink of an eye. Consumer tested by 110 women.
I was born in Alaska, though the word home never meant much to me. My father was in the military, and we drifted from place to place like leaves caught in a restless wind. My earliest memories settle in North Carolina, on Pope Air Force Base, a flat stretch of earth where summer air clung heavy to the skin, and the nights seemed darker than they should have been. When my parents divorced, I stayed with my dad. He remarried quickly. My new stepmom was pale, frail, and often in and out of the hospital. A feeding tube curled from her chest like some foreign root, an anchor that seemed to tether her between here and somewhere else. It wasn't long after she moved in that the nights began to feel different, like the house was listening. The first time I saw her, it was late, the house asleep, breathing in soft creaks. I had slipped from my bed to fetch a glass of water. In the kitchen, the refrigerator hummed faintly, the only sound in the stillness. Then I climbed the stairs toward my bedroom, glass in hand. Halfway up, I froze. At the landing, just beyond the banister stepping out of my room, was a woman in flowing white. She glowed faintly, not like a lamp, but like the afterlight that lingers when the moon is hidden by clouds. She didn't look at me, didn't speak, just drifted into my sister's room. The glass in my hand trembled. I couldn't yell for help, worried it would come for me. I spent the rest of the night downstairs. The next morning, after telling my family, they brushed it off as some nightmare. I really wanted to believe them. Weeks later, I saw her again. This time she passed right in front of my door, silent, serene. No fear this time, only an odd sense of serenity. She began appearing every so often after that, until we moved to Texas. For months in the new house, nothing happened. Then, one night, I woke up with the unshakable feeling that I was being watched. It wasn't the lady in white. It was a tall, black figure, darker than the dark around it, edges shifting like smoke, but somehow solid. It was the kind of shadow that somehow felt heavier than the darkness around it. It didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, heavy enough to make the air thick. Eventually, it slipped away. From then on, the nights alternated. Sometimes the lady in white, sometimes the shadow, sometimes nothing, but never both. When my stepmom's health declined, the visits from the shadow grew more frequent. It lingered in doorways. Sometimes it stayed in the corner of my room, still and patient. I didn't know then what it was capable of. She died when I was 8. After that, they were both gone. Years later, as an adult, I brought up these experiences with my sister. She went quiet, then admitted she'd seen them too. In Texas and in North Carolina, she'd been told to keep it to herself so I wouldn't be scared. And then she confirmed something for me that made my skin crawl. The shadow never came when the lady in white was around. When I finally confronted my dad, to my surprise, he didn't deny it. He said both figures had been around my stepmom long before they married. And he told me something I never saw for myself. How the black mass would throw her against walls, press her into the bed, even struck her with invisible force hard enough to leave marks. I've always believed the lady in white was a guardian, a quiet shield between my stepmom and the dark thing that haunted her. She was a calming presence in the storm, a flicker of light pushing back the shadows. But sometimes, late at night when everything was still, I couldn't shake the feeling that the shadow was patient, waiting, lurking just beyond the edge of that fragile protection. It was like a dark force with a claim on her that no guardian could fully sever. I wonder now if that black entity was more than just a presence in the house. If it somehow fed on her suffering. If it tightened its grip as her body grew weaker. Maybe, in the end, it was not illness alone that took her from us. Maybe that shadow played a part. A silent, merciless predator, waiting for its moment to strike. My sister still lives in that Texas house. She says it's been quiet ever since.
Want more Disturbed? Check out our Patreon for member-exclusive content, early merch access, and other cool perks. I'm your host, Doug Bailey, and this has been Disturbed, a production of Killer Podcasts and part of the Evergreen Network. For more paranormal and true crime shows, visit killerpodcasts.com. Follow our social channels at Disturbed Podcast on Instagram or Disturbed_pod on Twitter. If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and reviewing on your favorite listening platform. Share your own true horror story at disturbedpodcast.com. Music by Epidemic Sound and by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Our producer is Declan Roars. Audio engineering by Nathan Corson, Will Pritz, and Sean Rule Hoffman. Executive producer Bridget Coyne. Until next time, stay safe out there.